Okay, honest question, Alec.
Talk to me.
Have you ever played Crucible? The biggest game of 2020.
Do you mean the PvP mode of Destiny?
It was absolutely incredible. As you guys know, it was an absolute smash out of the park.
It was big.
It was huge. It was a big failure, really, let's be honest. Now, we've got
It was so big they wanted to re-release it again.
They wanted to re-release it. They went back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
How can we make this bigger? And then they thought, you know what? Why don't we just cancel it? That's like the biggest power move ever.
Huge.
So no one can ever play this game, even if we had millions of users. Today, we've got some information about New World, the latest MMO that Amazon Game Studios is working on. It doesn't look good for its future in terms of how it's trying to monetize. All this and more
Big
after
surprise,
I jumbled through that. We got there. All this and more after the drop. Alright, big boy. So, what do you want to talk about? Oh, we got some merch. I'm going to be wearing the new merch tomorrow in our episode. It's literally arrived at my house.
My house.
My house. Your house, actually, yes.
I'll be wearing it.
It is the Mario 64. Anyway, you guys can see it down there.
Looks cool.
Check it out. Link in the description and all that kind of fun stuff. Now, Amazon Game Studios. Now, where do we start with this?
All right, so Amazon Game Studios have had an interesting entry into the industry of video game development. They announced like 10 games.
Yeah.
They released
Two. Two.
Sorry, they released 2.
Grand Tour and Crucible.
They cancelled, I think, 6 games before release.
Which is always a good sign.
They've cancelled 1 game after release.
Yes.
They now have the Grand Tour and what is New World. Remaining. So New World is their big MMO. They also cancelled the Lord of the Rings MMO.
That's
by
true.
the way, so that's worth noting.
It has been a rocky road from them. Yes, so we've had up to 6 cancellations. We've had the Grand Tour that was pretty much no one knew about, and it's not even a thing, right? We saw Crucible, probably the biggest fail of 2020, I would say. Or up there, you guys are probably going to be correcting me in the comment section with another game, but it was... I've never seen a game come out, go back into beta a month or 2 after, then just completely cancel itself. Yeah. Actually, Anthem Next did that kind of, really. But, you know, aside from that, it hasn't been a very smooth ride from them. You're right, also Lord of the Rings was cancelled. Their last chance now is really, you know, I think New World. I think this is going to has to be an absolute smash out of the park. We haven't seen much since, you know, it went into beta in November last year. Relatively positive with the, you know, from the people that are actually playing it. They said it was not bad. A lot of people got excited off the back of those reviews of the alpha for New World. But since then, it looks like now we know a bit about their monetization. And they went to Twitter. The official New World Twitter said this. Look, it's actually quite a lengthy paragraph here. We're not going to cover the whole thing. The most important thing is actually the 3rd paragraph down. And it actually goes, ThiccBoi will take over.
Looking towards the future, we will also test ideas on how to offer players quality of life items for mechanics like rested XP and fast travel, both obtainable in-game and purchasable in the store. The timing of release for these types of items will depend on how players progress in the months after launch. The more players who are able to experience all of our exciting endgame content and game modes, the healthier the overall game experience for all players will be.
Of course, you can expect that a lot of people on Twitter were not happy with this because this really led to the idea of we're going to see some monetization that isn't overly fun, and it looks like it's going to be taking some quality life things away from us. For instance, like the fast travel, that's apparently going to be gone. The top comment of this, of course, said part of that quote that we just read, and he says, "That sounds to me that you want to rush people to endgame with booths and other stuff. Sounds really bad to me. Just let people enjoy the journey." New World responded, "It isn't about rushing people to the endgame. It is about supporting people who don't have as much time to play and helping them reach the endgame with the time available to them." If you can't play Ocarina of Time, I'm going to give you a button. Just miss all the good shit. Just go to the end boss with Ganon. The bottom line is we've seen this so many times with previous, like, you know, Assassin's Creed. They tried to give these garbage reasons why we want to see XP boosters, because it's giving the person that's having to really economize their time to, you know, enjoy the good parts of the game and leave, ultimately what they're saying, the crap parts to the side.
Yeah, it's the stupid thing about this is that you are paying a publisher more money to not play their game.
Yes.
And that's what they say, and it's so true. You're giving them money so that you don't have to play the parts of the game that get you levels. Like, I don't understand. If your core gameplay loop is about grinding and getting more powerful and reaching that end game, why is that so missable for people? Why is that portion of the game not enjoyable enough that someone would rather wait and maybe go to work for 12 hours a day and dedicate that 5 hours every night to grinding away and rewarding themselves with that end game and having that sense of pride of an accomplishment.
You need that. You definitely need that. But I think the other thing is, what's your take on this whole fast travel monetization thing they hinted on? I've never seen a game do that.
I don't know if it has or has not happened.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
I've not seen it, but there's a big market out there.
For fast travel, I don't want to spend $1.50. I mean, we don't know what it's going to be, but imagine do you want to travel fast? Just give us 80 cents and you can get there really quick. I mean, that just feels like it's really stepping over the mark here.
Look, I think the most important thing to realize is that the optics of this whole engagement with the community from this rich bloke is bad. Amazon are looking to get into the game publishing or development side of the industry.
Yeah.
It's so important for them to land, to hit the ground running, to not get the community offside, and this whole stunt goes completely in the face of that. They're a big company. There is no way they don't have the information or resources at hand to know that this is not good for their image.
Yep.
They obviously just don't give a shit.
I think it's not that they don't give a shit. It really just shows their age as a company and how much their ear is to the floor. I think that, we've only seen 2 games before this. Amazon Game Studios has really only tried to enter the console and PC market in the last couple of years. They've tried to be very bold in what they wanted to do, and they've fumbled along the way. They've got 2 problems right now. Number one, that they have a reputation of being pretty new to this, and this is really showing that, this is showing their age in terms of how they want to communicate to the audience and not really understand that was just a big no-no. People don't want XP boosters, and it just reeks of just trying to monetize a game in a way that you're trying to rob people of quality of life, particular features that just make the game fun. And secondly, they've already had a failed game. They really need to make sure that the next game is pretty much the best thing that we've seen in 2021. It really needs to be an absolutely amazing game, because I really don't think they have another big blunder in them. You may say that they have all the money in the world. They own Twitch. One of the greatest things that they've done in terms of the gaming has really just acquired Twitch. But in terms of making games, they haven't done a lot of great stuff here.
Well, they've done nothing.
They've done nothing apart from Crucible, which was a gigantic fail. And if they do
and
this
the Grand
again,
Tour, don't forget.
And the Grand Tour. But as you said before, off camera actually, that you think that they've got all the money in the world. They'll continue. I don't think that's the case. I think if it's not making money, they'll move on to other things and they'll Google Glass this.
What I mean to say is, when the phrase you use...
We never discussed the episode before.
Never. We would never
we
plan
just YOLO it, guys.
These are our first ideas, and you're seeing them from our brains to yours.
Exactly.
No, so look, what we basically... The phrase you used was, this is their last shot. I don't think this is their last shot, because Amazon can have as many shots as they want. At least in terms of... actually putting out a game. Is it their last shot with the audience? Could be.
That's what I mean. Sure,
a good product's a good product. If they stick out at it and they make something really good and it's worth playing, then they're back in. It's just about whether or not they care enough to persevere. I mean, look, New World's not out yet. We don't know. It could be the greatest thing since sliced bread. The microtransactions could be really fair. I don't see it happening. But again, we are so far out from the release of this that you would think they'd be more cautious about their messaging.
Yep.
And the way it looks, the way it makes Amazon look.
I think it is the last shot, because I think this company, they're not run by a bunch of morons in terms of monetary wise. Well, you're thinking maybe because this particular quote, but I mean, after a while, they're going to have to understand that if they've lost their audience from another failed game, are they going to throw tens or 20s of millions, or hundreds of millions, I should say, into their next project? It doesn't make sense. They'll probably just double down on what has been a success, Twitch, and they'll try and integrate games, or they'll try and launch more streaming-based things in the future. They are also working on Amazon Luna. They've got other things in the pipeline that they want to be kind of interacting with the gaming world. But this may be, if this doesn't work, they may just be like, this isn't going to work for us, and we're out. I really see that being on the cards for them.
Who knows? If you take, for example, Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, they introduced the XP boosters, and at their earnings call, they announced that Assassin's Creed Valhalla was the biggest Assassin's Creed release ever, and they're going to continue to support it. That's with XP boosters. That's with all the microtransactions. Obviously, this business model is working for them, and Amazon are looking at that. So, I mean, I don't know. Does this tweet look bad? It looks bad. Is it going to stop Amazon from being successful? Probably not.
Not one tweet, and we also have to remember that.
I mean, the whole approach.
Yeah,
the whole approach. It very well may not prohibit Amazon from, if this game is good, from smashing it out of the park and making heaps in sales. Or I don't know if it's free to play or not.
It's not. Well, actually, it's going to be, I think, a $40 price tag with no monthly subscription, I believe.
Yes.
And if that is correct, then of course they need to monetize this in some capacity. I'm not against games monetizing if it's a live service. Just make sure it's in a way that I think is fair and reasonable with the community. But look, I think we'll leave it there today. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. If they do fumble this, I'm in the camp that this is over. You're in the camp that you think that they actually have a few more shots in their gun.
Well, I'm not saying that they do. I'm just saying they have the capacity. They have more money than... They have a lot of money.
They have more money than Jeff Bezos, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy. They can afford it, so it depends on whether or not they want to stick at it. But we'll see.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Laymen out.